Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12/12/2022 Mother Mary Monthly Message. That's a lot of twos. Have you noticed that? Two, one, two, 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 two. So at any rate, my name's Samara Grace, and I've been channeling Mother Mary since 1998. And you might wonder, like, what's up with that? What's up with that? Well, what I can tell you is that over these 20-some years, Mother Mary has continued to teach me, and therefore sharing with others, as I'm so happy to do. What does it mean to really love ourselves? What does that really mean? I mean, we all bandy that word about, oh, I love myself and this and that. And what does it really mean? So when I was getting ready for tonight, she suggested that we talk about a simple, simple method that takes about 30 seconds to stay on track and go from being reactive to being creative. And some of you, this will be very, very familiar to you. But again, it's just that simple, what do I do? What do I do when I'm in a situation or I'm making a choice or somebody just cut me off on the freeway or whatever it is? How do I maintain my sovereignty? How do I maintain my balance? You know, what can I do? And so what she's going to talk about in just a moment is how to do that in what she said was 30 seconds. So we'll see. So I continue to be enthralled with Mother Mary messages. Many of you have known me for almost all that time. And the messages are not the same, although the theme is the same. How do we become more loving? How do we live in a world and offer that love in ways that are nurturing for ourselves, but also nurturing for others? How do we do that? How do we unite our God mind with our body? How do we live in joy and peace? And so in this season of holidays of Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, I think it's really important to think about how do we stay creative rather than reactive? Because there's a lot of flotsam and jetsam floating around out there. And I know for me, the important thing is always to find peace. So without further ado, I'm going to bring through Mother Mary and see if her message is helpful to you. And if you're needing to time the 30-second part, please go ahead, but it might be 45, I don't know. So, well, hello, all of you, and happy holidays. And I think that the thing that I really want to remind you about, and I don't think this will be like rocket science or some amazing new discovery for you, but it really is as simple as A, B, C. So A, what is A? Awareness. In the moment that you are possibly going to be going into reaction or possibly going to make a choice that is not helpful to you, become aware of where you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Are you in your head? Are you in your emotional, crazy reaction part? Take a breath. So A is awareness. You want to be still and know. Come back to A. I am a being of light in a crazy human journey. Okay, so awareness is the A. The B is quite simple. It's belief. So what do you believe? Do you believe that if you strike out at the person who, angered you, that somehow that's going to have a benevolent outcome? Not so much. Do you believe that you have to be right and therefore, you're going to just go arguing with this person and pushing them back and forth because you have to be right? Do you believe that you are the center of the universe? Do you believe that you're in charge of the universe? Some of you are hiding right now. So coming back to belief. So A is awareness. Who am I? The belief is really coming back to that. I am a being of light and love on a journey in my human life, whatever, right? And my belief there must be that I'm here to be an agent of love. So A, awareness, come back to the present moment. B, what do I believe? Do I believe I have to be right? That's a losing battle. Do I believe I'm here as an agent of love? Ah, okay. Now there's an alignment. My awareness and my belief are together. And so C, of course, is choice. What are my choices here? And it is choice, not chance, that will determine the next few moments of your journey. So the choice to disengage from anger, the choice to disengage from having to be right, the choice to disengage from having to prove something, brings you back to peace, brings you back to your own authority, brings you back to the moment in which you can say, you know what? I have a different understanding of X, Y, and Z. So let's just leave it at that. And so what you've done is you have cut the emotional cords that would cause you to be in reaction, and therefore in this turmoil of whatever the situation was inviting you to step into that you're now choosing not to step into. So A, awareness. I am present with myself. B, my belief. I'm here to be an agent of love. C, what are my choices? So in those few seconds, really, I think you can do it in 30 seconds. For some of you, maybe 60, I don't know. But in those few seconds, what happens is you come back to what I would call your sovereignty, your soul-centered place, your beingness. And you now are making the choice to not engage in something that would be disruptive, dishonoring, disabling, all of those things. And so there you are, sacrosanct and sovereign. Why is that important? Just imagine in your world today, if instead of all of the flotsam and jetsam and arguing and blaming that is being thrown from this one to that one, there were more Dalai Lamas wandering around saying namaste, you know. Just imagine what that would be like. There are more people walking around saying, I wish you well. There are more people walking around saying, you know, may you be blessed. May your life be blessed. May your children be blessed. You know, whatever is in your script of your heart to say at that moment in time. And so what we're doing, so many of you are already these wonderful healing light workers, and we're so appreciative and happy for that. And now as things are heating up in the world, unfortunately, there's perhaps even more noise that's coming, right? More noise about who's right and what to do and this and that. And when you have disengaged from that potential turmoil, you are actually sitting in the clarity of a different possibility and a different choice. So we've got the A, awareness, the B, looking at what you're believing in that moment. Like, what is your real job? Your real job is to be an agent of love. Now, if the other person, if it's a person involved, is not interested, that's all right. That's their choice. That's their journey. You just say, that's not how I see it. I wish you well. Namaste. Boom, out, over and out. Because what's happening now in the world is that all of the light workers that have strenuously and diligently and wholeheartedly worked for peace are now being invited to that next, shall we say, encampment on the mountain. And that next encampment on the mountain is really being able to disseminate and teach and model serenity, sovereignty, and love. That's the job. That's the job. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that's what you're here to model: serenity, sovereignty, and love. And so you become really a lot like Jesus, you know, in your own way, because what you're doing is you're using your soul sight to see the suffering, to see the misunderstanding, to see the anger, to see whatever was bringing up the initial issues, right? And the way to change things is not to move into the argument. Einstein said it beautifully. You cannot solve a problem from the same frequency of that problem. And so you become a different frequency that you're always capable of being, which is this serenity, sovereignty, and love. And so in that prospect, what starts to happen is that this cutting of cords to all of this situation means that that can now become less and less arduous, less and less volatile. That's the first step, the ABC. The next step is to realize, all right, I'm now choosing to be creative rather than reactive. Yes. And I've moved myself out of an argument with whoever, my boss or, you know, someone, you know, whatever. So now what? Now what? And that's really what 2023 is going to be all about. Now what, right? Now what? And I think that the simplest way to look at it is that, and again, I use analogies just so your minds can come along with me. It's not always 100% accurate, but it's like in 2022, the spiritual nuclear bomb went off. And what it's done is it has disrupted a lot of the patterns of people's previous belief systems, right? Like you used to believe the government was actually working for you. You used to believe that if you worked for a company, they would actually, you know, let you stay on even when you got older and give you a gold watch after 20 years and a retirement plan. You used to believe that you could send your children to school and they would learn what they needed to learn. So I'm just using, and again, I'm exaggerating a bit, but not a lot, right? So what happens then in the absence of structures that you can count on, there's a lot of dissembling, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of chaos, right? Because what should healthcare look like? Whatever you think of COVID and all these crazy things, whatever you did or didn't do, lots of people died. And lots of other people wanted to do the right thing, but didn't even know what that was, right? So it comes back now to realizing with all of that deconstruction, there's an opportunity for creation. So what do you personally want to create, right? And what that comes down to is, please remember the ABCs. Be aware of who you are. Be aware of what you're believing is possible. And C, make the choices that lead you in the direction that you're choosing or feel drawn to move into, right? One more analogy I'll just throw in there. If you think of yourself as being on the balance beam, Samara was in the beginning talking about the gymnastics being on the balance beam, right? And if you think of yourself as walking the balance beam, right? And the center of you is the fulcrum of you is what you would call conscious neutral. You know, you're aware, you're ready, you're present, right? And on the top of the balance beam, it now becomes almost like a seesaw, right? Depending on the choices that you make. So to stay balanced, you have to look at each thing and realize, if I go in that direction, will it be hindering me And even more provocatively, could it be harming me? So hindering and harming, don't want to go that way. Coming back to balance means what would be helping and what would be healing. So you begin to see that for yourself in your own life, but you also begin to see it out there. How are people harming themselves? What are the behaviors that are hindering peace and prosperity? And of course, even more interestingly, what would be helping and healing all of that? So all of you have prospects in that direction of realizing I want to be a creative being for all the days I have left on this earth, and even after that, but let's talk about this one for now. So what would be helping? We all know what would be hindering, but what would be helping? And so this first part that I gave you, the ABCs of being in your power, being in your sovereignty, being in your peace, absolutely, that's going to help you and help everyone. But now, well, how could I even, further express that or expand that? What more might I be able to offer? And in past broadcasts, of course, I've talked about, smiling at the postman and being nice to the grocery clerk and all of that. And I know all of you already do that. So now I'm going to get a little more interesting. One of the things that's really available now to all of you and to all light workers is imagination. And the imagination of the God mind begins to see what it is that is creating disparity and destruction. But even more importantly, what would be the remedies for that? And through your own visualizations, prayers, Reiki, group prayers as such as you have here and in your other groups that you do, you begin to visualize a world at peace, a world where the children have enough to eat, et cetera, right? And as you're doing that, in the chaos of the current assembling comes these rays of light. It's like streams of rainbow light that pour onto the earth from your good wishes and your good visualizations and your good love and Reiki and energy work and all of that. It's palpable for those who are ready to wake up a little bit. It's palpable. Now, will everyone wake up? Not yet, not yet. But more and more people will feel that. So your group prayers, along with your individual prayers, along with, whatever body work, Reiki, etc. you do, is wonderful. And now I'm going to add a few more pieces. Music. When you're doing your prayers, if there is a beautiful piece of music that calls to you, and I know for some of you lately, Samara had done that, may the long time sun shine upon you. May all love surround you. And may the pure light within you guide your way on. Just simple, beautiful prayer. So along with that, what happens with music, you see, when you send Reiki, it is like an amorphous, loving energy. When you add music, you're adding structure. And that's why music is so powerful and so important. Because when you think about what is music, right? Various notes, put together by someone. And then, of course, words or sometimes not words. But there's a structure to the sound. And so your prayers placed inside the sound. And again, I'm trying to explain something that's a little more complicated than that. But your prayers inside the sounds create a pattern that can be absorbed into the earth and the people of the earth. So whatever music lifts you, whatever music you feel soaring energy with, let that be a part of your prayer. Because what it does is, again, it provides a structure, is the only way I know how to explain it to you, that allows all of that beautiful prayer, all that beautiful Reiki or other modalities, energy, to find a place in the person, in the water, in the air, in the trees, everywhere. Now, many of you may have studied in the past the Course in Miracles. If you did, that's great. And if you didn't, that's great. But I'd invite you to go back to one of the chapters called The Forgotten Song. The Forgotten Song. And just read that and put it together with what I'm saying now. And I think you'll begin to understand that it is not a particular song. It is a pattern of light. And so any song that lifts you can be in that moment your forgotten song, okay? It's not a song. But what happens then is that that song that holds your prayer, that holds the Reiki, that has that structure, is like a remedy for the dissembling and destruction of what had been the structure of someone's life. Very powerful, very powerful. And so again, I invite you to use that for yourself and for others, again, with whatever music calls to you and lifts you. Because in the Course in Miracles, what they're referring to in the Forgotten Song is what you could call the song of your soul. And that song of your soul, which has often felt out of reach or fragmented or I don't know, confusing. Again, it's not a particular song. It's what makes you feel at home in your life, in your body, in all that you're choosing and creating. And so I'm being a teacher today. Samara's laughing because she was a teacher for many years and she's still a teacher. But so in the beginning, we have A, B, C to get you back to to center, right? Oh, okay. I've got my awareness. I'm back here. I've got my belief. I'm a child of God. I'm an agent of love. I've got my choice now. My choice is to do what love would do here. Now I expand that by realizing this opportunity between 2022 and into these coming years is about what do we want to put into the world, each of us individually and collectively, that allows for a different song in the world. And there have been many wonderful, wonderful songs throughout the years. You know, you can use Imagine, you can use I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, you can use any songs that lift you. And what begins to happen is in your physical body, wherever there have been disappointments, wherever there have been experiences of betrayal or less than or unworthy or all those things that all of you know about, it is replaced by something congruent. And therefore you now become more and more congruent. The A, the B, and the C. The awareness, the belief, and the choice. And so it's not difficult anymore. And so I just urge each of you to find some songs and play them as often as you like, and then share them as you're doing the dishes or doing your prayer work or whatever you're doing. The last thing I want to say is, for each of you, your body holds the memory of anything and everything that has disrupted your song. So each time that you play music that lifts you, you are healing that pain, whether physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, that lives in your body, and replacing it with something uplifting and joyful. And that's why it's so valuable and important to do that. Some of you are musicians, and I urge you, Christine, keep playing, because now not only are you hearing the music, if you will, you are being the music. And that is extraordinary. That is extraordinary. So even if you don't play the piano or something, Samara's got a tambourine, you know, get out and shake your tambourine or do your drums or whatever. Because now what you're doing is you are part of the music. And that is going to even more amplify its effect on your body. And so what a wonderful practice, you know, whether you're meditating or dancing in your living room, to play the music that uplifts you. And you don't have to go back and remember what happened when you were 2 or 5 or 20 or whatever. You don't. If you do, that's fine, but you don't have to. Because what you're doing is choosing to fuel your body with your soul song. And as I said, these days it's a medley. It's not just one song. So it's whatever lifts you up. And as you keep doing that and sharing it with your friends and family and clients and however you're doing that, what you're doing is creating a coherent pattern for yourself. Coherent, congruent pattern for yourself, absolutely. But also, it becomes the invitation and the experience that you're offering to so many others. It's an extraordinary, extraordinary thing to do. And so by being a co-creator, you're living your song, and I couldn't be any happier for you than to live your song. But now, whether you're doing it silently or sending Reiki or singing or playing the piano, you are also sharing it with everyone in reach and even those beyond. It is such an important time to remember that worry isn't the way. Yes, there are some very difficult things happening in the world. We are completely aware of that. And you have come to create a different song that the world can remember and find their way and create a very different world for your children, grandchildren, and those yet to come. And so my wish for all of you is you learn your ABCs and that you find the songs that fill your heart and make you dance and make you smile and make you grateful. And that you listen to them, play them, put on your headphones or dance to them, whatever, and then send them out to the world. The world needs a new song, and actually needs many new songs. So that is my gift to you for Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And I love you all so very much. And I just want you to know, A, B, C, you can do it like that. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, not in worry, but in song. I love you all. May you be blessed. May you be well. May you find your song. Namaste. Namaste.